Welcome to Naked Love. I'm Lucie, and today's video is all about explaining the difference between tantric sexuality and normal sexuality. So at the end of this video, you should have clear idea why in the West we have somewhat limited understanding of sexuality and why Tantra might be very good to look into. So the first aspect that I want to highlight is that in Western culture, not to say that we are doing it completely wrong, but we are very much focusing on the physical and sexual side of sexuality, which seems somewhat straightforward, right? Like, why wouldn't you? It is a physical act. However, there is more that can be explored, and that's what Eastern sexuality does and Tantra does. They focus not only on the physical and sexual aspects, they do sex as we do, but they also bring the elements of emotional, of mental and spiritual. So what that means is that, for example, as well, emotions are welcomed. So whether it is crying, whether it is anger, whether it is grief, whether it is high levels of pleasure, all of that is actually welcomed. And so the sexuality also serves as a tool for emotional expression, deep emotional expression. So it is the first main difference, just this like enhancement of bringing more aspects to sexuality. The second big difference is that in Western sexuality, in the normal sexuality as we call it, what is common to us, we focus on specific goal, that goal being an orgasm. So when we engage sexually, what we want to reach or what we use as a consideration whether the sex is good or bad is the achievement of orgasm. How well you orgasmed, how many times. That's what we pride ourselves about, that's what we talk about, and that's how we consider whether it was good or bad, right? So again, we are on that physical aspect, and we're so focused on the reaching of that peak because we understand orgasm as the main purpose of sex. Why else, to do it? Like, it's for reaching of the orgasm. And we also understand it as the biggest potential of the sexual activity, that's the Taj Mahal of sex, like reaching orgasm. But Eastern sexuality actually also suggests that it is not so. In the East, so the goal of orgasm does not exist, and it's all about beingness. It's all about the present moment and full expression of who you are in that present moment. And what it means is that the orgasm can come. It's not that the Eastern sexuality is stripped away from it, but what is far more important is be in full expression of who you are right there in that moment, which once again can sometimes look like reaching high levels of pleasure through orgasm, but sometimes it can mean just being slow and opening up to every sensations and kind of having more of a session of a sensory play, or reaching a place inside of you that actually needs to emotionally express, and you're allowing space for that to occur. So it is far more about meeting the partner where they are in that exact moment. And what is beautiful about it, it's not that it's like this paved path in front of you with a specific goal, so you actually forget about the journey. Eastern sexuality is not about the it's not about the end place of that journey, it's the destination. It's all about the journey to that destination, and the destination comes as just the natural evolution of that journey. So it's massively important because it just creates completely different space and expectations and assumptions on what the sexual act as such is supposed to look like. And from that, then basically the purpose of sex is definitely different. So in the West, we can say basically that sex is functional. It functions to give you, or we engage in sex to give us orgasm or pleasure or release. It has a specific goal. It's very function oriented. I do it because I get something out of it. It's not necessarily for just like exploration of the here and now and enjoying the moment as it is. It's more about like, I am trying to achieve something. Again, goal orientation. And what it does, unfortunately, then it creates habits. So to reach those goals, we create a path that we know that works. So we learn, and then we do this practice step by step as it worked last time, but it's very stripped of meeting the person as they are on that day, in meeting your emotions, in meeting your desires. It's very, starts to be very habitual and very stripped away from any mystery, from any play, from any fun. And so very often people get very bored over time, or they don't know how to actually embrace sexuality and evolve it with one partner over a certain period of time to increase the sexual drive over 20 years rather than just letting it dissipate, because it's just the same over and over again. So actually, according to some studies, you know, people are having less sex these days because it's just not satisfactory. Something's missing there. And that's why I love to look in the Eastern part. So what is the purpose in Eastern sexuality? There's a couple of them that I would like to highlight. It doesn't have a goal as such, but the purpose of engaging in a sexual sense with people can be of reaching transcendental states of being. So what it means, as in orgasm, we go there naturally in a Western culture. When you orgasm, you kind of go into the space. What you learn in Eastern is how to do it during the orgasm, but also in the other stage of sexuality, because like through the excitement stage, through the arousal stage, through the breathing, through many aspects, because it can be found not just in a penetrative sex, but also in all the other places. Another purpose of Eastern sexuality is unification of bodies and souls. So you hear a lot about soulmates, you hear a lot about sacred union. This is basically like one of the highest expressions of love in human body. It's not that necessarily you have to engage in those concepts, but still, to have great sex, there comes a coming together of two bodies, and you can either do it that you still become separate, or actually when you do it really well and learn some practices and go deeper, you can really become one. And it's the experience of oneness within the sexual act with someone, and kind of experience of disappearing into nothingness, kind of transcending your human body to become even more. And that's available through those practices as well. And one more is connected to our life force. So that's when we talk about sexuality that is healing. Sex as such is one of the most intimate acts and connections we can have with another human being. It can be highly triggering and like activating. And the life force, basically, it's like through sexual activity, the layers are stripped away. So your emotions come up, your walls go away, because you're opening to love. And as you do that, you basically open your base, you open your heart, those centers connect again. And there is an energy, Shakti, Kundalini, life force, whatever you want to call it, that runs through your base, through your spine, up the front, down again. And there's a circuit of energy that most people don't have. Don't know how to activate. It is the circuit that allows us to have multiple orgasms, and it is also the circuit that awakens Shakti, which is a life force, and it is the conduit of energy in your body, which when it happens, it cleanses you away from anything that does no longer serves you. So any blockages will dissipate, and you will come closer to who you truly are. So it's a very like soul-oriented practice. You kind of go beyond the human layers and walls and limitations and inhibitions, and you let them all go. You let go of the shame, you let go of the anger, you let go of the past hurt, all of these things, and you can reach this place where you are kind of united with your deepest core within yourself. And with that, then you're kind of plugged in into the universal energy. And when you do that, you can do it also with your partner. So it is a incredible like energy conduit that you have inside of you, and no one like really in sexual education teaches us how to reach that stage. So all of these differences being said, you know, there's nothing. I'll keep doing videos about this, and you let me know what if there is anything specific you want to know about, and I'll see you in another video.